Hello from Dubai. I'm Rachel Price and welcome to the podcast Not Just Making the Tea, a show where we talk about the realities of our career and life choices, what life skills there are to be learned, and how they influence and help us to succeed. It's all about celebrating the parts that don't go to plan as much as those which do. So welcome to Season 2. This season, the focus will be to look at how we can continue to develop ourselves to ensure that we're getting the most from our lives both professionally and personally. I hope that you enjoy listening, find the topics thought-provoking, entertaining, and that they have some positive moments to your day. So on that note, let's get started with today's topic. My top 5 podcasts which you should listen to, other than Not Just Making the Tea, of course. Over the past year, I've really gotten into listening to podcasts. I think that was because my exercise plan had to change due to the coronavirus restrictions that we all faced, and that I needed to hear people, and especially those who were talking about potentially difficult topics, but with a positive spin. And music just wasn't enough. At the beginning of the year, I'd been focused on training for a triathlon. But with everything closing down or being cancelled, my focus turned to maybe using the time whilst I exercised more for ensuring some positive headspace than I had previously prioritised. During this time, my bike has been set up in the garage area at home, on a turbo trainer, and I've managed to cycle more than 3,400 kilometres. In the real world, that would have gotten me to, say, Armenia, Azerbaijan, easily to Abu Dhabi or Bahrain several times there and back again, and maybe even Cyprus or Ethiopia, if we'd been allowed to travel. But still, I feel calm and happy in my headspace. So even though I've not actually managed to travel to these places, I shall continue to listen to my podcasts whilst I cycle. So here are my top 5 recommendations for podcasts. They've made me smile, laugh, cry, and everything in between. They felt like chatting with friends and have made a real difference for me and how this last year has been. I look forward to listening to them for a long time to come. Number 1, the High Performance Podcast with Jake Humphrey and Professor Damian Hughes. Now, into their 4th season, the High Performance Podcast offers an intimate glimpse into the lives of high-achieving, successful individuals. It doesn't matter what the guest has excelled at, be it sports, music, business or entertainment, they all have first-hand experiences and lessons to share. And we, the listener, get to find out what non-negotiable behaviours they've employed to get them to the top and to keep themselves there. Our hosts for each conversation is sports broadcaster Jake Humphrey and leading organisational psychologist Professor Damian Hughes. Jake is currently BT Sports Premier League anchor and former face of the BBC's Formula 1 coverage, whilst co-host Damian continues to work with leading sports organisations and teams to create a high-performing culture. I love the honest and open conversations which they're able to have with their guests and have learnt lots with a few surprises along the way. My go-to episodes for a good introduction would be Joe Malone, Finding Your Own Superpower, Neil Farshi, How to Avoid Getting Stuck, The Power of Pivoting, and next on my listening list will be Johnny Wilkinson's episode, How a Mental Health Crisis Led to a Life of Exploration. Number 2, Happy Place with Fern Cotton. Fern's Happy Place podcast, now in its 9th series, has over 40 million downloads and built on her success of the top 10 bestseller, Happy, where Fern draws on her own experiences and shares advice from experts on how to work through feeling blue to finding joy each and every day. Whatever your reason may be for feeling lost or frazzled from the pressures of this fast-paced life, there are always ways to put one foot in front of the other and help you unlock that inner happiness. Fern delves into this subject further through chatting to inspiring individuals who've either made a change in their own lives or those who help others every day to look for the positives in their lives. My favourite episode so far, and this was a tough decision as there are many to choose from, would be Philip Schofield, BBC presenter, Gareth Southgate, England football manager and ex-professional player, and June Sarpong, TV and radio presenter and recently appointed BBC Director of Creative Diversity. So number 3, we're going to go a little bit further afield and we're going to go armchair expert with Dax Shepard and Monica Padman. Now it's true that Dax Shepard loves to talk to people, just about anyone and everyone in fact. You can tell that he is fascinated by the messiness of being human and finds people who are vulnerable and honest about their struggles and shortcomings. He invites you to join him and his co-host, Monica Padman, to join their conversations as they explore other people's stories, celebrating above all the challenges and setbacks that ultimately lead to growth and betterment. So what qualifies him for such an endeavour? Well, he has more than a decade of sobriety, a degree in anthropology, and 4 years of improv training. He attempts to discover human truths without any laboratory work, clinical trials or data collection, and to be in the great tradition of the 16th century scientists, an armchair expert. That's his words and not mine. My recommended episodes so far, and again there are lots to choose from, would be Bill Gates, I'm sure I don't need to explain who he is, Rupert Grint, aka Ron Weasley of the Harry Potter fame, Salma Hayek, international actress and so much more, and Daniel Ricciardo, F1 driver for McLaren. These were all super interesting and enlightening as conversations go, so not what I was expecting. So number 4 takes us in another direction, Run Pod with Jenny Faulkner. This may seem an odd choice possibly as I'm not a runner but cycling, but truthfully running is not my thing as yet. So Run Pod is the virtual weekly run club that you can join simply by listening. Jenny Faulkner welcomes special guests who share their passion for running, and together they discuss the challenges, rewards and sometimes obsession of pounding the pavement, whilst asking what drives individuals to run, why some of us catch the bug more than others, and how it can transform the lives of those who do. Along the way you hear top training tips, monumental mistakes and some inspirational stories. So whether you're a seasoned marathoner, treadmill trainer, fitness guru or simply putting off that Sunday jog, or even sitting on your bike listening, Run Pod is there for you. My favourite episodes today include Vassos Alexander, Virgin Radio presenter, Eddie Izzard, comedian, actor, writer and runner, and Tom Kerridge, Michelin-starred chef. It's 50 minutes of inspiration to get me moving every time. And number 5, Happy Mum, Happy Baby, the podcast with Giovanna Fletcher. This will also seem a random choice. I'm not a mum and have no intention of having a baby, but in Happy Mum, Happy Baby, Giovanna Fletcher continues the conversations about motherhood which she begins in the best-selling book by the same title. It's in its 7th series. G is a high-profile mum herself who has frank, genuine and warm conversations with other high-profile mums and dads, and they all discuss all aspects of parenthood, the highs, the lows, the challenges and the rewards. There is no such thing as the perfect parent, and everyone is simply trying to do their best, something Giovanni fully encourages. It's time to stop comparing, but rather to be championing each other instead. Each episode is truly unique, yet unifying. No topic is out of bounds, therefore this podcast is perfect listening for anyone seeking solidarity and support, regardless of where they are in their life journey or choices. The episodes which have really made me sit back and think have been international actress Jennifer Garner, presenter, politician and 11 times Paralympic gold medalist Tanni Grey-Thompson, and the Duchess of Cambridge, Kate Middleton, the stories that they share. So that's my top 5, but 2 other podcasts worthy of a quick mention are Grilling by Simon Rimmer and Grounded by Louis Theroux. Grilling is a relatively new podcast in which host Simon Rimmer grills world-famous chefs about their passions for cooking. In every episode, he takes the guests back to where it all began and finds out what inspired them to get into the profession. We discover their biggest culinary triumphs and catastrophes, and they serve up a few simple tips along the way to help improve your skills in the kitchen. As an ex-chef, this fascinates me to be reminded of all the ups and downs that I went through, knowing that these guys did as well. I'm waiting for the next series with anticipation. And finally, Grounded by Louis Theroux. While stuck at home, Theroux used the lockdown period to track down some high-profile people that he's been longing to talk to, from all walks of life and on both sides of the Atlantic. This podcast is just great and random chats with really interesting people from the world of screen and stage. So that's our podcast for today. There are thousands of podcasts out there to listen to, and some will hit a chord with you and some will just mean nothing, with no connection. But my recommendation is to keep trying them out and see what fits. So thank you for taking the time to listen. If you've enjoyed this episode, then please do subscribe and get new episodes sent to you weekly. You can do that for free via Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, and other providers. I appreciate everyone who takes the time to listen. So subscribe, like, tell your friends, and rate the podcast. It helps to showcase this to other potential listeners. Also, check out the Instagram page, Not Just Making the Tea, for more information on these topics. For activities and resources, check out the Learning Hub on educationyala.teachable.com. A direct link is in the podcast information. Thank you once again, keep safe, and chat soon. Have a great day.